Hi guys, it's Mike GoG with the Guild of Guardians video. Really excited to get out there today and share with you my experience with Guild of Guardians. It's a new gacha game that's come out and it's actually kind of NFT focused, so it's really exciting for me and we'll explain a little bit what that means. Before we get into that, I give you a little bit of my background. I've played a lot of gacha games. I started with Galaxy of Heroes and Star Wars. I dabbled with Marvel a little bit, but I spent most of my time playing Raid Shadow Legends for probably about 4 years. And I built an amazing account, and it became harder and harder for me to keep up with the pay to win aspect of the game, and I was entirely free to play. And even with that, I had a great time building the account. I had a lot of legendary characters. I did never get a mythical character, but that was one of the things that kind of got me off the wagon, where it was just things kept progressing further and further, and it became harder and harder for me to compete. The other thing that got me was the work-life balance, or that quality of life. In that game, you can spend hours every day doing the daily tasks, and you don't get really a lot of time to build characters or forge gear or any of that. And so it just became very grueling, very wearing over time. And at the end of the day, I ended up with a really good account with a lot of great characters, a lot of great champions, but there's nothing I can do with them. I can sign it over to somebody else, give them my login credentials, but there's no value there. There's no nothing to walk away from. And that's one of the things that I think I'm so excited about with Guild of Guardians is that's going to change. And I think that's the future of gaming. And I think it's here, and it's going to give you a glimpse at what it can do. So the major difference in Guild of Guardians when it comes to your champions is your champions can actually be upgraded to become NFTs. And if you don't know what an NFT is, no big deal. All it is basically a digital asset. So it has a serial number and it's non-duplicatable, and you can actually sell, trade, or move your digital assets around as you please. And there's a marketplace for it where you can go ahead and put your champions or your guardians up for sale, which is incredible. And inevitably, we enjoy playing these games, which is why we play them, and we build the characters to go further and further in the game and beat the game. But at the end of it, we have all these great characters and nothing to do with them. In this case, if you have a champion that you don't use anymore, or if you see a champion come out that you want to get, you could actually sell a champion you've built and acquire that other champion by making them an NFT. So for the first 2 weeks I played the game, there's a specific token you earn in the game. It seems pretty limited and very hard to get. But I did earn enough to create one NFT out of an epic completely free to play. And we'll get into that a little later in that whole process. But I'm really putting together basically a 5 video composition of getting started. There's kind of a lot to chew on, and it does a great job with the little tutorial it walks you through to kind of get you started. But I'm hoping that with a couple little pointers here and there, you can avoid some of the pitfalls and mistakes that I made when I got started, and hopefully give you some guidance and learn some stuff along the way. The game itself came out 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, so it's brand new to the public. They obviously did beta testing, and a lot of folks got to play it for the last, I think, couple years. They've been working on it, but it just went public. I think it was May 24th. So it's fairly new. I'm learning along with you guys. I was not a beta tester, but I enjoy these games, so I downloaded it and I started playing and I started looking for content, and I couldn't find anything. So I figured, hey, you know what? I'm going to get out there and see if I can share some of my expertise or some of my learnings with you. I don't know how expertise it is, but we'll find out. So today I want to just kind of cover a couple basic things in the game, getting started, so you can see how the game plays and so forth. This is the Haven, so this is where you start when you load the game. You can play mobile, which is how I play a majority of the time, or you can play on PC. You first log in, you have the quests, the inventory, and the vaults. We're going to cover these 3 today, and also these 3 icons right up here. Or excuse me, there's 4 icons right up here. And then on the next videos, we'll start getting into what goes on down here, and then the actual gameplay and so forth. But that way you can kind of get a feel for what everything is and how to find everything. So starting out, we're going to start with the quests. The quests are your daily activities to complete where you acquire different resources. So gold is very hard to come by in this game. I feel like I'm always running out of gold, so it's nice that you get some on a daily level. You also get experience. Now, there's two different kinds of experience in this game. The first experience is what we see here, and that's what's going to increase your commander rating. So this is basically the experience on your account. So I'm on level 61, and my experience is 16% towards level 62. That is not the same as the experience level of my champions. So this is my champion here. She's on level 140 of 142. So that's a different level experience. That's the experience you're going to earn as you go through dungeons and also as you get these scrolls. And we'll talk more about those later. But there are two different experiences that you collect. Also, you're going to find that you get these stones here. They come in green, purple, and gold. And this is how you actually increase the stats on your gear over time. And the gear in this game does incredible jumps of power as you move up and get better and better gear. Your characters get significantly better with each increase. So that's an asset that you want to collect and work on. These here are the scrolls that you saw. This is the experience that you can assign to your guardians. Now, the nice thing with the scrolls is with a lot of gacha games, you have to play with the character in the dungeon for them to gain the experience. In this game, you don't have to. So you can build your core 5 players and actually accumulate scrolls and put them on other guardians. So that's kind of a neat and unique thing in this game that I like because it doesn't force you to farm food or anything like that, where it's much more about just acquiring the scrolls and allocating them the way that you want to. And then rubies is one of many currencies in this game that you can buy all kinds of stuff with, from your daily energy to forging materials. You can buy summoning stones. So there's a lot of ways you can spend your rubies throughout the game, but they do a good job with giving you quite a few. So if you allocate them resourcefully, you pretty much always have enough rubies to do what you want to do. But if you have some bigger tasks or you want to do a lot of summoning, that'll chew through rubies pretty quick. So that's pretty fun. This here down here is your adventure. So there'll be different quests that are kind of not geared on the day, but maybe more of a longer goal over several days or even a week. So my next quest I need to complete is to clear Warden's Way. And that's one of the dungeons that's further along in the game. And then over next to that, you have achievements. Now with the achievements, this is kind of the same thing. So it gives you a task. It may not be dungeon related, but it's something you need to accomplish in the game, and then you see the rewards here. So these are your summoning stones that you are rewarded, and you can pull champions from summoning stones, and you can get common, rare, epic, or legendary champions from. So the wisdom dust here is how you upgrade your champion's abilities. So I haven't really run into a point where you don't have enough of this. As you upgrade your champions, you acquire enough of this to basically upgrade all their abilities. But it's a resource you do need to be able to do that. And we'll talk about that in a future video. One helpful pointer I'll give you, every time you see one of these question marks, if you click on it, you will actually receive 50 rubies. And this goes for every screen in the game that has that question mark. So it's a really great way to get started and acquire rubies, and it also has some good information in there. So for example, achievements, I got 50 in there. If I go here, hit the same question mark, it's an additional 50 rubies. And then over here on daily, it would be an additional 50 rubies. So every time you log into something and see a question mark, that's a great place to just get some extra rubies and spend them however you want. But it's kind of fun because even now I've been playing for 2 weeks. Every now and then I see a question mark. I was like, I clicked on that one and boom, I get 50 rubies. So I'm pretty excited about it. So moving down this list, we go to our inventory. The inventory is where all of your assets go, all the resources that you gain throughout the game. And we'll get into more of what all these mean and whatnot. But you gain different chests that have different things in them. These are upgrade stones that help you upgrade your champions or enlighten your champions. This is going to be a very scarce resource and probably one of the more important ones. These here are fragments or puzzle pieces, I call them, but they're shards where once you collect 60 of any given character, you can convert that into the character. And you acquire these shards as you go through the dungeons and as you complete different challenges. And so you can actually basically accumulate all these characters within several days of playing the game. And then from there, you can build the ones you want, and you can, turn the other ones into resources to upgrade your champions. Here's some of those upgrade stones that you have for gear. These here are the ascension stones that are required to convert your champions into NFTs. And this is what makes them a digital asset. So for a rare champion, it's usually right around 18 of these seals. For an epic champion, it's somewhere between 30 and 36. And for legendary champions, it's usually right around 150. But you can acquire these seals in the game free to play. But you do, I believe, need to reach top levels in different areas. So if you're doing endless battles or things of that nature, you do have to achieve pretty good results. I was able to do that completely free to play the first 2 weeks with characters from inside the game. So it's just a matter of kind of grinding it out, building the characters, getting stronger, and so forth. So, but that is the inventory. On the side here, you have another bar. Here's another question mark and get those 50 rubies. I already did. Oh, that would have been great. But you have, this is the bag of different items. I'm not sure what this one's actually referring to. This one goes to your gear, so it'll just pull up free pieces of gear. Now this won't show all the pieces of gear that you have already equipped on your Guardians. So this is just free pieces of gear that nobody's wearing right now. And then this comes back to your shards or your fragments, and so you can look at those directly. And then this one here is any extras, because you can buy, I believe, pets, and you can buy different things from the token trove that would end up here. I have not got there yet, so mine is empty. From there, we go down to the vault. The vault here is really only used for NFTs. So you can see these are the NFTs that I have. This is my inventory that I plan on keeping. I just acquired Tianlong, who is said to be a really good champion. I haven't quite built him yet, so I'm really excited to see how good he is. Hopefully he'll replace my Atticus. But when you see this bar around them with a number, this is their serial number. So this is a digital asset that I could put on the marketplace and sell. These here are digital assets that I actually already have on the marketplace for sale. And I've personally sold probably 100, maybe 150 champions at this point. And what I'm having fun with outside of the game is actually you can buy those ascension seals we talked about. You can upgrade your champions, and then you can sell them and make the money back or a profit. So my goal was basically to break even. I wanted to be able to ascend all of my champions with those ascension seals so that I could make them NFTs so they would have a value, but I didn't want to pay for it. So I bought the seals up front, and then I tried to use all of the excess seals that I didn't use on my champions to basically sell other champions I'm not using. And so far, I've been able to actually do that and basically break even. Now, it did get me in the habit of spending money, and then I ended up buying Tianlong. So I think they got me a little bit there, but I am excited about this character. And this character does have a value moving forward. So I could play with this character for a year or two and potentially sell him for more than I bought him for. So that's kind of a cool side of things too, where there is going to be a built-in scarcity in some of these characters, and we'll talk about how you upgrade and feed characters to each other. So inevitably there will be less and less of them, even though more and more people are playing. That supply and demand is going to constantly be kind of moving around. So at any given time, certain characters might be more rare and more valuable. So that's kind of fun. So that's the vault. The other four we're going to talk about today are these guys right up here real quick. This is going to be your daily login rewards. So far, they've given me Tala on day 7 twice. So this will be the third time I've collected Tala. I think they'll probably start cycling through to other champions, but that's who you get after logging in for 7 days. She's an epic champion. She's pretty good. She summons a dragon and has some a cool AoE ability, but I didn't use her long. I moved on pretty quickly. Over here, you have your monthly rewards. So every day you log in, you get some more rewards. So you just want to make sure you click on those guys and then claim those when they're available. This one here is going to be basically any notes that are coming through, any communications and announcements that Immutable is trying to let you know about. And Immutable's the game company, as far as I know. They have an Immutable passport, so I'm assuming it's Immutable. But basically, if Guild of Guardians wants you to know anything, or there's updates scheduled or anything like that, that's where that will come. These are notifications. So if you ascend a guardian, or if you sell a guardian, it'll tell you that it's synchronized or that an extension was successful or those kind of things. And then you have your daily mail. And again, it's kind of just letting me know. So they say, hey, your transaction was successful. I sold Nokubo, a Tokton, and another Tokton. So I sold those 3 characters this morning when I woke up, which was pretty fun. And so it's letting me know those guardians have been removed from my account because somebody else has bought them and they're using them now. This one, what I got? 2 Zols. So yeah, so you kind of sell through some different characters and have some fun. So it's pretty cool. So that's kind of the nutshell. I don't want to cover too much all at once. Like I said, I'm planning on doing a 5-video segment that'll kind of get you through some of the different things, so you can kind of get a feel for the game itself and what all the pieces are. So next time we're going to talk a little more about the Guardians themselves, crafting gear, summoning. We're going to kind of spend some time right down here. But before we leave, I'd like to at least get into some gameplay so you can see how the game works. We're going to go to an easy level because because I want to win. I don't want to show you how I'm not beating things. So so we're gonna go here. We got challenge 1. This is our power that we have to use. You accrue, I think, 1 every hour, and you get a maximum of 9, and then it stops accruing. So you want to log into the game probably every 9 hours or so, and you can fight the dungeons. After you beat them, you actually have the ability to sweep them, so it doesn't take any time at all. So that quality of life piece is really good, because if you wake up in the morning, you're like, I got stuff to do, you can jump in here real quick, hit sweep, sweep, sweep. That just bought you 3 hours, and then you can go do whatever you want to do when you have a little more time. You can come back to the game and play it. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to go ahead and play it so you can see the game. As you progress, you get to open these guys up. I think you start with 2 or 3, and then you get to build your lineup. So your first 2 spots are the ones that go in the front, so they're going to take most of the damage. Now, Tuskrog here is a tank, so he's up there to take damage. Grizel's actually a support champion, but my other 3 champions that I use, Atticus, Darizda, and Aquarius, are range champions, so they want to be in the back. But the cool thing with Grizel is when she starts battle, she's actually going to go behind my most powerful character, who happens to be Darizda. So she'll remove herself from the front line and move to the back where she's a little safer. And that does help out in that space. And the cool thing with Tuskrog is, being my tank, you kind of want different people up there to take on damage. Well, he summons a little wolf that comes next to him that helps take on that damage and protect your people on the back line. So that is kind of a helpful little sneaky way of having almost an extra tank up front to take that damage on. So this is the first battle of this dungeon. When you get to the challenge mode, there's going to be 3 battles. And we'll discuss the runes and stuff like that in a future video, but for the time being, we'll just kind of zip through it. And so we're going to click fight, and all 5 of my characters and their characters are going to fight simultaneously, which can be a little bit hectic when you're not used to it, but it does expedite the runs of these dungeons. And if you think long term, it's fun to watch and take turns and do every individual fighter when you first start the game and see exactly what they're doing. But over time, that gets a little exhausting, and you'd like things to speed up a little bit. So in this case, you can actually just hit go, and they all just fight, which I personally think is really cool. I really like that. The other thing you have is after you select fight down here, you have 2 times speed and auto. The auto is where they start doing their abilities as soon as they're available. If you start struggling with content, sometimes coming off of auto and using those abilities a little more strategic can be helpful. And that will get you kind of a little further in the game. And then these runes will affect you throughout this battle, so you can kind of select and read through what they do and which ones are beneficial. And it's important to know the characters you have, because the characters you have are going to let you know which runes affect you the best. But we will cover that in the next video, so don't want to spend too much time on it here. The merchants and different things you run into are throughout the dungeon to help you progress through, so you can get resources and you can get different things based on dungeon tokens or whatever you get along the way. And then this is the boss fight. So if I finish this one, I will have completed this dungeon, and all the runes that I've acquired and everything will reset. And then the next time I go into the dungeon, there'll be new runes for me to do. So if I hit the fight. Now my team is very powerful for this level. So I do blaze through this pretty quickly, but the rooms do get very hard very quickly. So it does create challenges and starts to work through strategy, trying to build a team that can go a little further or more survivable, all those different pieces. So it gets more and more engaging the more you play, but they do a great job in introducing you to things kind of incrementally. So it's not like drinking out of a fire hose all at once. You kind of learn a little bit about each thing, and then over time it makes it easier. But that is why I'm making these videos, because I made some mistakes, and hopefully some of the mistakes I made I can pass along to you and let you know to avoid those pitfalls and have a little more success than I had in my first couple weeks. But thank you for tuning in. If you found this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe. The other videos will be coming out shortly, and you can go through those and hopefully have some nuggets. If you do have any specific questions, feel free to leave those in the comments below. If I can't answer them directly, I might put them into a video, because if you have that question, other people might as well. Prefacing that, I am not an expert. I have done some research on the game, and I try to find the answers where I can, but I'm not plugged into Guild of Guardians outside of just being a player of the game. So I don't have all the answers. I'm sure I'm going to make mistakes, so please forgive me when I do. But thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it, and we will see you next time.